Hello.
Hi, Archie. All right, so we are on Spacemice part 4. The chapter is Milk Mission. This is we just finished part 3 yesterday, so we need to remember what happened at the end of part 3. And if I remember correctly, Thea woke up Geronimo in the middle of the night and said, "Come on, get going. We're going on a secret mission to do reconnaissance of planet Ratos," right? She says, "I'm suspicious. I don't trust them. Something weird is going on. There's a mystery here. So we are going to very quietly get in a space pod, travel over to the planet, and very secretly, we don't want anyone to see us. We're going to look to see if we can figure out what's going on. We're going to investigate, right? Be a detective and figure out what's happening over there, get more information." And in this space pod, I think we have Thea, Geronimo, I think Trap, Professor, what's that plant guy? I can't quite remember his name. I think we'll see it here in a minute. And also, I think Benjamin, right? And I don't think, well, actually, I'm not sure that Benjamin, because here it says Benjamin was tossing and turning in his bed, right? That's the first sentence here. Benjamin was tossing and turning in his bed. So let's just actually take a quick look at the end of part 3. This was the end of part 3. And I think these are the only people in the space pod. I think it's just Thea, Geronimo, Trap, and this guy. What's his name? Professor
Greenfur.
Professor Greenfur. Okay, so I think it's just these 4. All right, so let's go back into part 4. And so Benjamin is still in his bed, right? And he's having trouble sleeping because it says that he's tossing and turning. That's an expression we use in English. So let me go ahead and make that orange. Tossing and turning means that you're having trouble sleeping. So that means he's awake, okay? He's not sleeping. And he thinks a glass of milk would help. Now, remember we talked about if a whole sentence is written in italics, remember italics is when the letters look kind of wiggly. They kind of look like they're leaning over, like they're about to fall over. And that means that an author can use italics, remember, for a couple different reasons. One, if it's the title of a story. One is if it's just one word and the author wants you to kind of pull that word apart and say it more slowly, you know, that really emphasizes that word. Another one, especially with a sentence, is if the author wants to tell us it's what the character is thinking in their head, but not saying out loud. You know, Archie, I would love to see you if you can turn your video back on. So right here, let me see if I can make this box. Right here, this is all in italics. And so this is what Benjamin is thinking. He's not saying—
Because it is thinking. Because he is thinking.
That's right. So he thinks a glass of milk would help. He thought with his wrist phone, that's a pretty cool thing. I don't have a watch that I can use as a phone. Do you know if the Apple Watch can be used as a phone?
I know it is wrist phone. It
Okay.
can call someone.
So he called Bugsy Wugsy. Maybe she couldn't sleep either. And he whispers, "Bugsy Wugsy," he whispered, "are you still up?" "Yes," she replied. "I've counted all the constellations, but I still can't fall asleep." Do you know what a constellation is?
I know.
What is it?
It's constellation.
What is a constellation? I'm going to take a quick, well, actually in the galaxy, there are lots of constellations.
But in Earth, we count sheep.
Oh, that's true. We count sheep if we're having trouble falling asleep. But so a constellation is when you look up in the sky and you see, you put some stars together and you can see something. Okay, so it used to be a long time ago that they would look up in the sky at night and they would see these stars and they would connect the dots and it would make them think of an animal or of a picture. For example, this right here, well, I can't draw on this, but here we have the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper, and we can see, let me see if I can find some constellations here that, oh, here's a good one. Well, I want to show, oh, Orion's Belt. This is a constellation called Orion's Belt. Those three stars next to each other. Let me see. A lot of these constellations are, what's this one? This one is Leo Minor or some, I don't know how they get that animal out of there. Well, what happens when you're talking about a constellation, it means that they look up into the sky and they see some stars and they connect the dots to turn the stars into a picture. And then it makes them think, and then that picture is called a constellation. So I'm not seeing any that I'm familiar with. I'm familiar with the Little Dipper and the Big Dipper. And I've heard of Orion's Belt before, but I'm not good at looking up into the sky and being able to see the different pictures. But that's, so when you look up at the sky, you're not seeing those lines, you're only seeing the stars. But if you know that you can connect the stars with those lines, it can look like you're drawing a picture of something and someone has given it a name. And that name or that group of stars that's all connected is a constellation. But you're right that what we do if we're trying to fall asleep is we count sheep. Okay, but she's counting constellations. All right, and then Benjamin says, what do you say we go find some milk? Benjamin suggested. Yes, his friend cried. Meet you in the hallway in 2 minutes. Benjamin padded out of his room. That means he's walking in like socks or slippers so that he's not making much noise, trying not to make any noise. The mouse star one was, oh, let's see what's happening here. Oh, they're showing us the wrist phone. This must be Benjamin's room. You can see that Benjamin is not sleeping. There's some of his toys. And then it tells us what the wrist phone is. It says the wrist phone is the best method of communicating quickly and across great distances in space. So communicating is when you get a message to somebody. All right, so he's trying to be completely silent. Benjamin and Bugsy Wugsy headed toward the kitchen together. Wait, Bugsy Wugsy said suddenly. Did you hear that? Benjamin shook his head. No, I didn't hear anything, he replied. Come on, the refrigerator is right over here. We need to carry out our milk mission. They're on a mission to get milk, right? A mission is when you have a plan for something that you want to do or accomplish. And their mission right now is to get a glass of milk from the kitchen. Bam, 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 clang, clang, clang. That does not sound quiet. Benjamin had knocked into an entire pile of pots and pans. He and Bugsy Wugsy froze in their tracks. They just completely froze. They heard a sleepy voice grumbling. Less salt in that space ant pie. It was Squizzy the cook. He had fallen asleep right in front of the fridge. Fridge is a short for refrigerator. So here he is. They need him to move if they're going to open the refrigerator and get a glass of milk. Now what do we do? Bugsy Wugsy asked, disappointed. We'll never get the milk out of the fridge without him hearing us. What about the pantry? Benjamin suggested. There's extra cheese in there. The two friends walked on the tips of their paws so that they wouldn't wake Squizzy. They headed toward the pantry, which was full of supplies from the most remote galaxies. Remote means very far away. Oh, look, Bugsy Wugsy exclaimed. There's a gorgonzola from Sirius over here. So there must be a planet called Sirius. And the cheese, we saw a picture of that the other day, the gorgonzola cheese, came from that other planet. So a pantry is not a refrigerator. It's more of a closet that gets full of, that you can put food in that does not need to be in a refrigerator. I don't know. I thought cheese needed to be in a refrigerator, but all right. This looks like they're in a pantry here. I don't know. Maybe their pantry is refrigerated. I can see here as they're walking down here, I see carrots, and this looks like tomatoes, and I don't know what all these things are here. I think this would here be the cheese, maybe lemons. And there are spicy cheeses from Pluto over here, Benjamin replied. Suddenly, Benjamin noticed something else in the pantry. Look, he whispered, there's someone over there. He pointed to a dark corner. Bugsy Wugsy turned, but she didn't see anyone. All right, so we're going to put our star right here.
Who is it?
Well, we don't know. I think that's a good place. Sometimes it's a great place to stop a story right in the middle of a dun, 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 dun. What's going to happen next? Who is it? Who's there? I think that'll make it a very exciting place to start our story next time. So I'm going to go ahead and I can't really say so long because I can't see you, but I am going to say so long. Hi.
So long, Chitter Chip.
All right. Bye-bye, Archie.